in Mark, looking at the story of Jesus going to his hometown, and so it talks about the prophet has no honor in his hometown, and so he's gone and he's preaching where he had grown up, and all of these people are looking at him going, isn't this the carpenter?
Right.
His sisters are here.
Yes.
Like, who's this guy? And they saw the miracles that he did, but they rejected him. And it was purely out of this element of, like, who does this guy think he is? Like, we know you. You're not better than us.
Yes.
Like, and they've shut it down. And it talks about him being able to do less miracles in that place because of that resistance and lack of faith that people had. And there's a number of stuff going on there, but one is that pride blinds us to what's happening in front of us. The pride that rose up in them stopped them from being able to really see what Jesus was on about and doing. But it also, there was a bit of a contrast there between, so a couple, like sort of back in the chapter, Jesus heals or casts out a legion of demons from this guy that had been tormented his whole life. He was completely on the outskirts of society and living out in a rocky cave sort of thing. And he comes to Jesus. Jesus has cast out these demons from him, and he's just filled with absolute gratitude to Jesus. And he's saying to Jesus, I want to come follow you. I want to be with you. And he says, no, I want you to go back to your town. And so he's sent him back to his hometown, and what he's actually become an evangelist to 10 cities that are around that area.
Yes.
And it was interesting. He's gone back and he's had a massive influence on his community because of what had happened. But then Jesus goes to his hometown and is rejected because of what he's doing. And it was making me realize people, when they feel like you've now risen above them, you're now attacking the insecurities that are within them. Yeah. Whereas for this guy, he's come from the bottom of the barrel, and now they can say, oh, whoa, this guy's normal. And so they've embraced it and were blown away by it. And there's a lot going on more so than this one principle, but this was just what was standing out to me, this idea of it wasn't necessarily pulling on the insecurities of people. Mm-hmm. Whereas Jesus, going back, they've seen him growing up as a kid. Now all of a sudden he's rocking up and they're thinking, oh, this guy's way beyond us. Now it's hitting their insecurities. Let's shut it down because it's making me insecure. And what it really had me thinking was, let me find it here. Watch out for relationships that in order for them to survive, you must remain below them.
Yeah, wow.
Watch out for a relationship where they're happy for you to be around until they notice that, oh, actually, he's starting to grow a little bit. Yep. Let's crush it.
Yep.
And it really had me thinking about that idea of
so
those
true,
relationships.
isn't it?
Yeah.
And even with good things, if we're not careful, you know, you talked earlier about if we want to collaborate, if we want something to get bigger than just ourselves, we have to watch our pride there. I think that's definitely something you face even in ministry. You know, and you're building people up, and we're happy to do that whilst they're helping in the ministry area that, you know, so let me speak from my context as having done lead pastoring for a long time now. And so long as they're feeding into the local church and helping, you know, that thing that the organisation that you've been called to lead and the representation of the body of Christ that you're leading, great. But what about when someone who you've spent a lot of time investing in and building up is then called to something that's above and beyond that, and you've got to release them and be happy for that? And I think that's where the rubber hits the road on some of these things. And you know, something that I'm really passionate about is helping leaders and pastors get healthy. One of the things I want to achieve in my role as our executive pastor at Generosity Church is that we'd have the healthiest, happiest pastors in Australia, because healthy, happy pastors are going to build healthy, happy churches. And I realise in that, though, there is that tension within yourself going, wow, that's a bit of a background job. Like, no one's going to, the general congregation members aren't going to see 90% of what I'm doing in that space, but what they are going to see is healthy, happy pastors. And those healthy, happy pastors' influence is going to rise while my role remains unseen. And I have had to wrestle with that. And thankfully, I've had a couple of really great guys in my world who have done similar things. And from very early on in the piece have been coaching me through that because, you've got to deal with your pride on it.